Welcome everyone to another startup and automobile documentation. What we have here is a 2016 Kia Soul Plus. This Soul is painted in titanium gray. On the key, he has the buttons for lock, unlock, trunk release, and panic. The front door panels have storage with bottle holders. It does have power windows, locks, and mirrors. It has a black interior, and the Plus trim comes with cloth seats. Both front seats are manually adjusted. But now that we're behind the wheel, let's go ahead and start the engine. In the mid to late 2000s, there was an automotive trend of boxy-shaped, compact, tall hatchbacks like the Scion XB and Nissan Cube. However, fast forward to today, and the only one that's really stuck around is this, the Kia Soul. And stuck around it has, because it's still incredibly popular, and one of the most frequently seen cars on the road. Also, props to Kia for coming up with an ad campaign that people still remember over a decade later. Cause at least when I see one of these things, it's still hard not to think of those creepy giant CGI hamsters. But anyways, the Soul made its debut for 2010, and as of 2024 is currently in its third generation. Now, Kia officially classifies this as a crossover, but I think one can also look at it as more of a tall hatchback, as it's never actually been offered with all-wheel drive of any kind. So this 2016 model we're looking at today represents the second generation of the Soul, codenamed PS, which was produced from model years 2014 through 2019. The styling of the second-gen Soul takes inspiration from the 2012 Kia Traxxter concept car. The second-gen Soul was also the first one to offer an all-electric variant, with the Soul EV debuting for 2015. For 2017, the second-gen Soul got a mid-cycle facelift, which gave it some very subtle updates to the front and rear fascias, but more notably introduced a 1.6-liter turbocharged engine and dual-clutch transmission for the top trim level. But anyways, that makes this 2017, of course, a pre-facelift. The US market 2016 model Kia Soul, at least the non-EV version, came in the following trim levels: Base, Plus, and Exclaim. Both available engines were naturally aspirated inline 4s. The base model used a 1.6-liter with 130 horsepower. Plus and Exclaim trims got a larger 2-liter with a more potent 164 horsepower. As for transmissions, base models could be had with either a 6-speed manual or automatic, while Plus and Exclaim models came only with the 6-speed auto. In the instrument cluster, we have 4 analog gauges, which are your tachometer, speedometer, fuel gauge, and temperature gauge. There is also a digital info display, which you can control via these controls on the steering wheel. You have your trip computers, along with your range, average fuel economy, that kind of stuff. It has a 4-spoke design, multifunctional steering wheel. There are sport grips. And as for controls, on this side you have your Bluetooth and voice control, along with your audio controls, although since this has an aftermarket head unit, these are no longer functional. Not sure I care for that myself, but I mean, to each their own. Then on this side you have your cruise controls, aforementioned trip computer controls or info display controls, and then with this you have your steering mode selectors, so you have normal, sport, and comfort. And the steering wheel is tilt and telescopic. You have your panel dimmer and your traction control switch. You have a climate vent for the driver. On this side is your exterior lighting stock. And on this side is your wiper stock. So going down the center of the interior, you have your hazard switch, central climate vents. This one has been fitted with an aftermarket Pioneer head unit. You have a single zone manual climate controls. You have your temperature dial, different zones dial, and your fan speed dial with your recirculation, ready frost, air conditioning buttons. Your active eco driving mode, your passenger airbag indicator, you have some storage ahead of the shifter along with a USB port, an aux port, and two 12-volt power outlets. Entering reverse does reveal a backup camera. You have two cup holders, the parking brake is hand operated, and you have a center console with some storage. Both sun visors do have vanity mirrors, lights, and card holders. Manually dimming rear view, and on the overhead console, you have a sunglass holder and your overhead lighting. And there are grab handles at all four corners. So here's that aftermarket Pioneer head unit. It does have a CD player. You have all sorts of settings. But it has built-in Spotify, Pandora, then you have your regular radio, FM, and Sirius XM. So you got some nice modern connectivity options. But now we'll roll down the driver's window and have a look at the engine bay. Both front windows are fully automatic. The Soul Plus came with 17-inch 5 split-spoke alloy rims. The Soul Plus is powered by the model's top engine for 2016, which is Hyundai Kia's new 2-liter naturally aspirated inline-4. This engine is all aluminum and it has dual overhead camshafts, 4 valves per cylinder, continuously variable valve timing, and direct injection. Horsepower is rated at 164 at 6,200 RPM, and torque is rated at 151 pound-feet at 4,000 RPM. This engine is paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission with a manual shifting mode, which sends that power solely to the front wheels. Running on regular unleaded with a 14.2-gallon fuel tank, EPA estimates are 24 mpg in the city and 31 mpg on the highway. It has a McPherson strut front suspension and a torsion beam rear suspension. Stopping the Soul are 4-wheel disc brakes, with the front ones being ventilated. Curb weight is somewhere around 2,800 pounds. The fuel cap is on the driver's side. Back door panels also have bottle holders. "60/40 split folding rear seats. The front passenger seat does have a map pocket on the back. Coat hook on this side. And rear passengers do get a folding center armrest with 2 cup holders. And as for space back here, I'm about 6'1" with the driver's seat in a pretty comfortable position for myself, as usual. Headroom is really, really good because of the boxy shape. That's always been a very big plus of the Soul. For how small these are, they've got some roomy interiors. That box shape, again, really helps aid spaciousness on the interior. Footroom is really good too. Legroom is not too bad. Headroom, again, really good. Single exhaust rear wiper. Cargo space in the Soul is 24.2 cubic feet with the back seats up and 61.3 cubic feet after folding them down. Anyhow, thanks for checking out this tour of this 2016 Kia Soul. And as always, stay on the lookout for future tours.